More people in eastern Ukraine evacuate their homes as intense fighting continues between Ukrainian and Russian forces. 9 eastern flank nations meet in Bucharest to demand more protection from NATO. Campaigners against Britain's plans to send asylum seekers to Rwanda say they'll fight on after a judge ruled the government was acting lawfully. Hundreds of people continue to flee intense fighting in eastern Ukraine on Friday, many on a special evacuation train from Pokrovsk, as fighting between Russian and Ukrainian forces showed no sign of easing in the Luhansk and Donetsk regions. Meanwhile, the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic reported the Ukrainian army had been intensively shelling the Donetsk region. Russian state TV also showed footage of destroyed residential buildings. Explosions were also seen near the DPR administration building in Donetsk city centre, but details are sparse as both Ukraine and the Moscow-backed rebels in the east have introduced tight reporting restrictions. Earlier this week, a stadium in the town of Bashtanka in the Mykolaiv region was destroyed by intense strikes. Ukrainian news reports said the community came under fire, killing 2 people.
Russian army is more powerful and they have a lot of artillery and ammo. So for now this is a war of artillery for now, and we're out of ammo from our stocks. So help of Europe and America is very, very important, because we just need ammo to defend our country.
In the south, Ukrainian soldiers are continuing to try and recapture Kherson, which has been in Moscow's hands since the day the invasion began. There are only a few villagers left here, along with their most loyal of friends. Nine NATO nations on the eastern flank of the alliance held talks in Romania on Friday ahead of a key NATO summit later this month. Some leaders are urging NATO to increase protection for them in the light of Russia's war in Ukraine. The 9 aim to forge a united voice within the 30-member alliance. He says the result we are aiming for is a consolidated, united, coherent, robust and sustainable NATO presence on the eastern flank, especially in the Black Sea, the most exposed to the Russian threats.
Well, we want to ensure that enhanced forward presence, which we have today on the eastern flank, extends itself not only over additional countries. We want to add Bulgaria to this as well. We want to add Hungary. We want to add Slovakia to this. But actually, this has already been decided. But we want more. We want to transform it into enhanced forward defense.
During the Cold War, the Bucharest 9 countries were all controlled by Moscow. Today, they're all in NATO and the EU. The UK's controversial plan to deport migrants to Rwanda is going ahead despite a bid by NGOs to halt it. A British judge rejected the emergency bid to block deportation flights of asylum seekers set to start next week. Campaigners for the asylum seekers said the policy was unlawful and there should be no such flights ahead of a full hearing of the case later this year. British charities, including Care for Calais and Detention Action, plan to appeal.
This judgment is devastating for the refugees. This is a brutal policy. We've got refugees, we've spoken to more than 100 who've been given these notices that say they're going to be forcibly removed from the country. These are people who come in who are from war-torn countries, who are already traumatized. It simply adds to the agony and causes more trauma. It is an absolute scandal.
Despite criticism, accommodation like Hope Hostel in Kigali claim they are ready to host migrants comfortably. But such reassurances aren't trusted by human rights activists. Great Britain criticises the Rwandan government on the subject of human rights, she says. But at the same time, they send people to the country that they themselves argue does not respect human rights. So it's the world turned upside down. If nothing stops it, the first flights bringing migrants to Kigali will take off on Tuesday.
Hundreds of hectares of salad, but here whole fields of this Kent-grown crop have this year gone to waste. All because for the second year in a row, there's a huge shortage of people to pick it.
We probably wasted about between 50 and 20% of this year's crop. I've probably wasted about 150 tonnes of crop so far.
This year?
This year, yeah.
The Eastern Europeans who were picking this baby gem lettuce pre-Brexit haven't returned. Instead, farmers have had to look further afield to the Far East. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Tajikistan. So why not employ Brits?
There's been a mantra of trying to bring British people in. We've tried that hard. Absolute no-goer. Just not happening. We've been in engagement with Maidstone Job Centre for 4 years and we've had not a single person through it. Not a single person. So please stop giving me that rhetoric because it's absolute garbage.
100 miles away in West Sussex, one of the country's largest vegetable growers has faced another uphill battle.
Finding labour has been exceptionally difficult this year. There have been delays in people coming on the seasonal workers programme.
The seasonal workers programme, which offers short-term visas for farm workers, gave UK growers the opportunity to invite 30,000 migrants to work in Britain this year, with the option for 10,000 extra if needed. The government is yet to agree to allow the extra workers in. Farmers say they must do so now before it's too late.
Last year, a staggering 600 tonnes of crop was thrown away on this one farm. The battle to find labourers has been almost as challenging this year. And farmers say unless more seasonal migrants are allowed in to pick this broccoli, fields like this one will cease to exist in the UK.
To recruit somebody, to get all of their paperwork in order, and then to move them from their home country to the UK probably takes a minimum 2 to 3 weeks. And crops don't wait for anybody. They keep growing, and once they grow beyond a certain point, they're out of specification for UK retail, and they will go to waste.
The UK government acknowledges the farming industry is facing labour challenges and says it's extended the seasonal workers visa route until the end of 2024. The government also says it's working towards attracting UK workers to the sector. Luke Hanrahan, Euronews.
The former Bolivian interim president, Jenny Náñez, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison after prosecutors claim she organized a coup against her predecessor, Evo Morales. Náñez insists she has been the victim of a political vendetta and denied the charges against her. Her defense said she would appeal the verdict. Around 2,000 people who fled their homes when wildfires broke out in southern Spain on Wednesday were allowed home on Friday as the blaze stabilized. The fire in the forested mountainous area of Sierra Bermeja was no longer spreading, but has burnt through some 3,500 hectares of forested land and injured 3 firefighters. Icelandic police say they've seized an unprecedented amount of drugs after French police hacked a secretive communications app used by criminals. The drugs discovered had a street value of more than 12 million euros. They include over 30 kilograms of marijuana, 20 kilograms of hash and 7 kilograms of MDA crystals.
In US basketball, Stephen Curry scored 43 points to lead the Golden State Warriors to a 107-97 victory over the Boston Celtics in Game 4 of the NBA Finals on Friday night. For most of the game, the Celtics withstood everything the Warriors threw at them, but in the end couldn't keep Curry at bay.
Just stunning. I think this is the strongest physically that he's ever been in his career, and it's allowing him to do what he's doing.
We had plenty of opportunities, obviously. Every time we got a 5-6 point lead, it felt like we made some poor decisions, whether it was rush shots in traffic or, to your point, standing around looking at each other a little bit there.
The setback overshadowed a big night for Boston big man Robert Williams, who had 7 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists and 2 blocks before his surgically repaired left knee forced him back to the bench. The series now goes back to San Francisco with the contest sitting at 2 games apiece. The Warriors will host Game 5 on Monday night and would also hold the home court advantage in a 7th game if necessary.
It happened because they pushed the ball.